Hello and welcome back to Suspense Animation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Gotham, Season 5, Episode 12, The Beginning. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing the recap on this one. I will go over it a bit, but all I can say is it didn't go out with a bang. It kind of went out with a whimper. So, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't watched it yet. Go and watch it. This will be a video. You can come on back later on and comment down in the comment section. But just so you know, I'm not going to be recapping it too much. I'm just going to go over some of the highlights and then talk about it a little bit before signing off. Because hey, Stanley Tweedle. It wasn't the big bang up thing that they were. Well, I kind of figured that they weren't really touting it all that much. Plus, you had that 4-week break between the last two episodes, and just kind of disappointed on this one. I mean, we start off with Bruce where he had left off, going out to go and walk the world. You haven't seen the episode yet. It was a kind of a disappointment, Stanley. That's all I'm going to say. You're not going to be, it's not going to be disappointing, but also at the same time, it's not going to be heartening either. So, we see him going out into the world to go and become Batman and, writing Alfred, telling him, that he'll be back when Gotham needs him, that kind of thing. And then we see 10 years later what's going on in Gotham. And Gordon is getting ready to step down as police commissioner. The mayor, of course, doesn't want him to. Harvey doesn't want him to. And they're also hearing about this whole thing about some guy taking out criminals and growling a lot is what they're saying. So, which was kind of a nice little nod to Christian Bale's Batman voice about the growling. There was a couple little things they said here and there that were kind of funny. Riddler's in Arkham. He's been in Arkham for the last 10 years. And Oswald's getting ready to be released from prison. Jeremiah is in a catatonic state in Arkham Asylum. Has been that way ever since, the Ace Chemical Factory thing. Jim also has a mustache briefly and ends up shaving it off because he says that was just something I tried and it didn't work, is what he says. And he and Lee are together. Barbara has become a titan of industry, I guess you could say. She is building a tower that's going to rival Wayne Tower. So it's going to be taller than that. And Barbara Lee, of course, they share custody with. So we see Selena, a grown-up Selena as well. She's a cat burglar. She's become the new it girl, as Lee has called her. And Selena is stealing a gem, a big, gigantic diamond from a museum, it looks like, when she sees a shadow pass over the window. And it just jumped ahead 10 years. That's all it did, Joe Greer. So that's all it was. We knew that there was going to be a time jump. We knew that this was coming. So Ed ends up escaping Arkham. So does Jeremiah. Gets wheeled out of Arkham by a nurse who we know is Echo at this point. Because, I mean, it's only an hour-long episode. So we know where this is going. Harvey ends up tracking down the guard that supposedly let Ed out because he didn't show up to work that day. And we find out that for some reason that he wants Harvey to talk to somebody on the phone. Harvey finds out who it is, and then the guard blows his own brains out, and Harvey's going to end up taking the fall for that. Does wee Barbara have red hair? She does not, Stanley Tweedle. Actually, Barbara, her mom, has dyed her hair red. So, that's where we've got that going on. So that was the other interesting thing about that. And so, Barbara Lee is 10 years old at this point, too. So, we see Ed, for some reason, is kind of conscripted into blowing up basically making a name for himself so that people will know who the Riddler's name is again. And the Penguin's scared of somebody. We don't know exactly who. They never really kind of get into it. It was kind of this one weird throwaway thing of why Penguin was kind of scared of these two goons that were standing across the street from when he's getting out and having his little press conference outside the car. There was some stuff that just didn't make sense here. I'm fairly sure they wanted more episodes. There's probably a 13th episode they wanted, and this was kind of a mishmash of everything put together. I'm pretty sure they wanted 2 episodes or a 2-hour season finale is what they probably wanted, and they had to go with this instead. So we find out that the Jim had arrested the Penguin. That's why he was in jail. And there's missing C4 from an armory that Riddler has a case of this C4, and he's supposed to make a name for himself again so that everyone knows who he is. And we see Jim and a detective. She gets a tip on where the C4 might be. They go to this one building where we see all these guys that are dead, and they've got plans of the clock tower and all this kind of stuff, and they've got bomb making material, all that kind of stuff. And we see Batman that's there too, and he tells them basically don't touch the bodies, drops a smoke grenade, then jumps out the window. And we find out later on the bodies were actually rigged with C4, so he saved Gordon and the detective's life, and then also the mayor has been kidnapped at this point. So Selina, Jim is leaving. Penguin is in the car behind him actually, and takes him out to the pier and says, "Remember, this is where it all started. Don Falcone, you refused Don Falcone's order to kill me." And Jim used this time to actually ask him about the C4, and he goes, "What C4? I have nothing to do with anything like that." And so he realizes the Penguin isn't in on this whole C4 plan to blow up Wayne Gala, the gala for Wayne Industries. And so he jumps off the pier, escaping Penguin from shooting him, of course, just like Penguin did back then. And we see Selina show up at Wayne Gala dressed to the nines, basically just to tell Alfred. She goes, "I know Bruce is following me. He keeps staring at me, kind of thing. Tell him to stop." And Alfred just kind of points out, he's like, "Well, why did you come here dressed up like you are just to tell him that? If you tell them that you don't want to see him anymore, why are you dressed up like that just to tell him that?" And she kind of gets pissed off and is walking away, and she bumps into Barbara, and Barbara says, "Come with me for a second. I need your help." And we see Ed is actually at the gala with the mayor, strapped up with some C4. And of course, he's going to blow up Wayne Tower. And Barbara walks in on him and says, "Haven't you already done this little thing before?" And he goes, "It's called a callback." And which I thought was kind of funny. And of course, Selina knocks him out and they save him. Jim comes in, trying to evacuate the building. Yeah, of course, Braun. Yeah, Braun, I agree with you. It was a fucking terrible ending. That's why I'm kind of wrapping it up really quickly. So they find out that the other 3 cases of C4 are actually underneath the table of a model of Bruce Wayne's Gotham that, he's revamping Gotham with new buildings and things like that. And that the wires lead up into the models themselves. And Jim says, "Well, the bombers had a whole bunch of pictures of the clock tower. That's probably where the wires lead to." So, of course, they take the model of the clock tower off, and they see a gyroscope kind of device that's there. Lucius is there, Lee is there, Jim, Barbara, all these people are there. And, of course, there's 5 minutes left on the timer, so there's no way they can get away from the building in time. Is it worth watching, Joe Greer? If you've watched this far, you might as well just watch it. It's an hour long. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to be one of those things where you go, "Oh, that was a fucking waste of time." But also at the same time, you're not going to really enjoy it all that much either. It's kind of just there. And I just, about midway through, I started doing other things, quite honestly, as I was taking notes too. But yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a pisser. So they realize that the clock tower is actually the old clock tower, and that's when it clicks in Jim's head that it's Jeremiah. And so he gets down to Harvey before Harvey gets taken away for killing the guard. And we find out the cop that's taking Harvey away is actually working with Jeremiah and is rigged with a wire. And that's when Echo comes into Arkham. We see that Jeremiah has been faking it for 10 years. Basically, he pulled a Dumb and Dumber move where he played at being catatonic for 10 years until Bruce came back, because Bruce Wayne completes him, of course. And he kills the two guys that are in the cell with him, and then he kind of grabs her by the throat. And yeah. So Ed and Oswald are leaving the gala, of course, and because Ed has escaped again. And who shows up but Batman? Batman jumps on top of the windshield, has the limo crash. They get out, and he grabs them, and they of course scream. Lucius is asking Alfred. He says, does Bruce, is he going to bring in Jim on any of this, on what his plan is? He goes, I know we've been conscripted into this, but has, he thought to bring in Jim on this. And Alfred says, no, I don't think he's going to. So we know that they all know about this, of course, except for Jim. And Jim's not stupid. He knows who the hell this guy, he knows that Batman's going to be Bruce Wayne. He's got to, especially with all the stuff that's happened in this series. He knows who the hell it is. Yeah, and we see, of course, Penguin and Riddler hanging from a street lamp. He's got him tied up and hanging from the street lamp. That's gift wrapped him for the cops. So Barbara takes Barbara Lee over to her old nightclub to go and grab a gun out of the drawer, because she's respectable now, doesn't carry those kind of things, when Crimson and Clover starts playing outside in the main room. So she goes out there, sees Echo, and then Jeremiah comes from behind, pushes her into Echo, and pulls out a gun. Barbara Lee throws something at his hand, which causes Echo to get shot. Actually, he shoots Barbara in the leg. Then Barbara Lee gets the gun, shoots Echo in the stomach, and Joker Jeremiah grabs that thing back again, grabs the gun back again, grabs Barbara Lee, and as Echo is dying, she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, boss. I think she nicked me." And he goes, I can never replace you. And he just shoots her and kills her and says, there's plenty of other fish in the sea. So she obviously was not Harley Quinn. She was Echo. I know someone here, not probably someone in our chat right now, but someone before kept telling me that was Harley Quinn. It wasn't Harley Quinn. I kept saying it was Echo. And there we go. Santa Twill says, sorry if I missed it. Is Bruce played by the same actor? Bruce never shows up. We never see him in the entire episode. That's the other pisser about this, is you keep waiting for Bruce Wayne to show up. They have someone else playing Selina, but they didn't just recast Bruce as an older person. I don't know why. It would have been a lot better if they did. I mean, they even use a different voice. I know they aged up David Masus's voice a bit, and they also used his face and digitally enhanced it for the final Batman reveal, but that was about it. Joker the Third says Oprah would make a better Amanda Waller than Viola Davis. I don't know. At this point, yeah. That's neither here nor there with this thing. So Jeremiah has taken Barbara Lee to Ace Chemicals. He says basically where he was reborn is where he was taking Barbara, and he's got her dangling over a vat of one of the chemicals by a rope from her hands and on a pulley. And he keeps talking about being reborn and all this stuff, and he's no longer Jeremiah. And he's, what should I call you, is what Jim asks him. He says, Jack. No, that's not right. And he starts going through a couple of names. He goes, I don't know just as of yet. I feel like something primordial crawling out of the ooze. He did a great job playing a Joker here, a version of the Joker. It just wasn't enough given there. There wasn't enough time. I think we needed at least a couple of episodes of this, and I could have done with less episodes of No Man's Land, to tell you the truth, and more episodes of this last 10 years. What they should have done was No Man's Land should have been ended. The first two episodes of the season should have been No Man's Land. You end it, and then you bring it into 10 years later and do the last 10 episodes of nothing but 10 years of Gotham, 10 years later. That was the whole criminal portion of this series. I mean, because they were doing some good stuff early on in this, in this season, but yeah, it kind of just petered out. I don't know. A lot of wasted opportunity. So anyway, Jeremiah's got Barbara Lee hanging over the vat of acid or vat of chemicals, and he drops the rope. Jim grabs it, and he's laying there on the catwalk as he's got the rope, and Jeremiah stabs him in the side and saying, fillet of commissioner, and he's gonna basically stab him in the neck. He pulls it out, and he's gonna stab him in the neck when a batarang knocks the knife out of his hand. And then Jeremiah's like, what the hell is that? And he grabs a gun out, and as he grabs the gun out, another batarang goes into his hand and like through it. So it's halfway through his hand, and he looks at it and he does a Joker laugh. He actually does a really good Cesar Romero laugh and face for a second. And then another batarang comes down and knocks him out. And Jim is able to pull Barbara Lee up and back onto the catwalk. So there we go. So we see Jim has dug out the spotlight that he had been using up on the roof of GCPD during the whole No Man's Land thing. And for old time's sake, obviously we know what this is all about. And Alfred comes up to the roof as well and apologizes that Master Bruce can't make it because, of course, he's off doing something else. And we see Selina up on the rooftop, another rooftop someplace else. And Bruce Batman is behind her. We see him blurred out a little bit. And she tells him about how hard, she says, you know how hard it was for you, for me after you left. She goes, you were my everything kind of thing, and all this stuff and going on and on. And he says, I'm sorry, but I'll never leave Gotham again. And then he tells her just before he leaves, and return the diamond. And she goes, yeah, fat chance. That's not going to happen. So we see Ed and Penguin escape again. And they're saying, we're going to teach that guy who's dressed up as a bat a lesson that this is our city and everything. And they see him running across the rooftops up above them. And they're like, maybe tomorrow we'll do that. And so, of course, they think a little bit better of it. And finally, we see Jim and Harvey and Alfred up on the roof, and they're talking about what the spotlight signified. Alfred's talking about how Jim said the spotlight was supposed to be a beacon of hope, and that's to protect the city. And Harvey looks up and goes, what the hell? He goes, oh my God, what the hell is that? And they see up on the other rooftop across the way, Batman standing there, where the spotlight is pointing up towards. And we finally get to see what he looks like. And it's kind of unimpressive, to tell you the truth. It's kind of a Batman prototype suit more than anything else. And that's, Harvey says, what is, who is that? And Jim says, a friend. So obviously Jim knows who the hell it is at this point, because why wouldn't he? He fought alongside Bruce the entire time during No Man's Land. He knows what Bruce is capable of at this point. There's no surprise there, but that's how this ended. Again, that's the nutshell version of it. I wasn't too impressed with it. Joker the Third said, similar to Orphan Black, staying on the lake or the island. Yeah, it's, it was budgetary reasons, and I can see what they did, but really, they should have just gone balls out and said, you know what, screw it, we're going to do Batman, and we're just going to do Batman. That's what they should have done. Stanley Twiddle says, do you think Disney wanted to shut this DC joint down quick? No, they had already announced it before the Disney thing was final. The Disney Fox merger was even before it actually even happened. So they had already announced that this was going to happen. This is going to be the final season. So I don't think it had anything to do with the merger. Their numbers were already down as it was. So them getting a sixth season was going to be out of the question, especially with what was going on here. And also the Bruno Heller is moving on to the Pennyworth thing that's going on over at Epix for Sony, because he signed up with Sony at this point, Sony TV. And I saw a commercial for that actually during Gotham, and it looks pretty god awful. So, and of course it's on Epix. So, I mean, who gets Epix? I don't. Actually, I think I have the app on Fire TV now I think about it. But I think if I have to pay for it, if I don't have to pay for it, I might actually check out the first 2 episodes of Alfred, or Pennyworth. It's supposed to take place in the 60s. Alfred is a member of the SAS, I believe, helping out the Queen, and he meets Thomas Wayne in London in the 60s, and all kinds of weird shit happens. From what it looks like they are fighting Nazis, is what it looks like in the 60s in London, which looks kind of funny. Who knows for sure if that's what's going on. Stanley Tweedle says, not interested yet. Always. Yeah. Yeah, and that was the other thing too. I mean, they could have just recast Bruce and had an older Bruce. And again, like I said, they had so many missed opportunities. You could have done even half the season as No Man's Land and then done the other half the season 10 years later. And you still could have done the really boring 10 years later and still had, glimpses of Batman here and there and still done it right. But no, they had to kind of shoehorn it all into that last episode and not even, Stanley Tweedle says, by the way, Endgame is very good. Will you make a video about it? I haven't seen it yet. I will be seeing it tomorrow at some point in time. So yes, I will be talking about it. I will do a non-spoiler version and I will do a spoiler version of it in between everything else that I'm doing tomorrow. So yeah, 3 hours, or what is it, 3.5 hours? How long is it, Stanley? Is it 3 hours or 3.5 hours? Because quite honestly, my bladder does have a timer on it, and especially in those the shortest 3 hours of your life. Nice. All right. Yeah. I'm fairly sure I've come to the conclusion that movie theater seats, and I made this conclusion a long time ago, that movie theater seats have pressure points that are specifically designed to make you pee as fast as possible. So, yeah. I'm planning not to have any liquids during that whole time there. It's going to be a long 3 hours without any liquids. But still. So what else do I got here going on? And let me just jump up here. Okay, so not too much. We're missing Penn, Farm Girl. I guess she is out. I'm pretty sure she's overseeing Avengers there. And but they still have a lot of slow scenes in it. Really? Okay. So that was the other thing too that kind of boggled my mind, is why would you release the season finale of Gotham on the opening night of Avengers Endgame? I mean, why would you freaking delay your season finale 4 weeks? I mean, they had a 4-week break in between the last 2 episodes, and they time it so your season finale is when Avengers Endgame. I'm pretty sure they knew it was going to suck hard. And so they just decided, you know what, we're going to do it during Avengers Endgame. No one's going to notice. We'll just go out, and no one will ever see it. Joker the Third says Ian Glenn will not be suiting up as Batman during Titan season 2. I'm pretty sure he won't. He's fairly old, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to be suiting up as Batman. Joker. From what I understand, he's just playing Bruce Wayne. That's it. We're not supposed to see him as Batman. Although, who knows, they may change their mind. But I can now see, after seeing the full trailer of Swamp Thing, I can now see why it went from 13 episodes to 10 episodes, because they burned through a shitload of money. That's what it was. That's exactly the reason why it went from 13 episodes to 10 episodes, because James Wan was shooting this thing like he was shooting a movie, is what he was doing. And you have a fledgling a streaming service that may get absorbed by Warner Media. It looks good. Yeah, if you go and take a look at that first trailer, it looks really good. It looks like a horror movie, like a full-on horror movie. Just the only thing is, I think he went too hog wild with the money on that, and they went, whoa, 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 whoa. You've went way over budget. So you don't get the last 3 episodes. You better make sure yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think DC Universe is going to be around once Warner Media comes out. I think they're going to absorb DC Universe. If they were smart, they would absorb DC Universe and just grandfather in the people that are already subscribed to Warner Media at that price. They're probably going to be stupid about it and try and charge people multiple. Yeah, they're probably going to leave DC Universe as the comics section and bring all their shows over to Warner Media, which would be a stupid move on their part. But I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to try and do. Joker the Third says, so like Batman Beyond. Oh, you're talking about what, Ian Glenn? I don't think they're going to go Batman Beyond with that. So I wish they would. Joker the Third says, okay, I saw that article. I missed Saturday morning blast off. Oh, yeah, I talked about it a bit there. Stanley Tweedle says, let's hope we get 10 good episodes then. Yeah, I know they're rewriting the last episode. That's why production halted on that thing so quickly. And I can guarantee you that was the reason why, is they were looking at the budget on that thing and they're like, whoa, you're way over budget. You're on episode 10. That's your last episode. Better make it work. And that's why they shut down production as fast as they did. I would say it's a 98% chance of that's the reason why it happened. Because like I said, it looks really good. I mean, special effects look good. I mean, we'll see. Again, it was only one trailer that I saw, but I don't know if the editing was done by a master or something like that. But yeah, and I'm not a big fan of James Wan's stuff. So yeah, there we go. So to get a little business out of the way, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button too. I just ask that you go down in the comment section, tell me what it is you don't like, give me a little constructive criticism, and let me know what you think about that. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again, you can hit the little bell down below there too. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can also go into the bell setting and set how often or how not often you want to get those notifications from me. And then you still have a 50-50 chance of YouTube notifying you of when I'm on live. If you want to see when my schedule is on, when I'm going to be on, I actually have a schedule up at suspendedfanimation.com. You can also find that on Facebook. I have a Facebook page that has my schedule up there. I also have a Twitter, and I also have an Instagram as well. There you go. So that's all of it in a nutshell. Oh, and if you're also still on the fence about that, you're going to see a video that's going to pop up here. It's going to pull a video from my video library that best suits your viewing likes. Basically, what it does, it takes the algorithm of everything that you've watched. It pulls a video according to those algorithms out of my video library and pops it up here. And if you like what you see there, you can hit the subscribe button. That's going to be up there. Okay. So US was also affected, Stan. Oh, they just raised the price for Netflix here. I'm paying 16 euros now. Wow. Yeah, it was kind of funny, Stanley. They raised the price for Netflix here as well. And then they lowered the price for Hulu, which was kind of weird. So I don't know. Your Daft Punk video is still up. Yeah, I know, Joker. I actually had made a few edits to it. There was some really stupid stuff that they had on there, even though it's all live footage. It was because the music, they can actually tell from the algorithm. They can hear the music and all that stuff, and those that music is actually copyrighted. So I had to put copyright things in there in the video so it could play. So I got it back up and running, which it's an awesome video, quite honestly. I mean, I didn't shoot it. A friend of mine shot it, but it's still one of the best things that, it's one of the weirdest things that has ever happened to me, especially at Comic-Con. So, and it was a lot of fun too. I mean, watching these guys, and I saw what they look like without their masks on too, which is kind of funny. Look at just regular dudes. Joker the Third says, my Google Mini gave that recommendation from your channel. Nice. Yeah, the sound's nice and clear too on it and everything. It's really good. And I mean, that's a God, I want to say it's like a 7-year-old video, something like that now. I want to say it was 2012. No, 2011. I can't remember offhand. It's in the video itself. You use them like Jarvis. Nice. Nice. So, Stanley Tweedle says I'll have to try and look this time if it stays up long enough. It should still be up, Stanley. I took all, like I said, all the video strikes and all that kind of stuff that were on it, the copyright strikes, I should say, or the copyright content contests to them, because they're all, the songs are all copyrighted. We get different people and fixed all those things up. So it should be up and running. I'm going to rip it to an MP3. Nice. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. It's also, if you go to the Facebook page, my Facebook page, the entire video is up in its entirety. So the claim, thank you, Stanley Tweedle. It's actually the copyright claim. So it wasn't a strike, it was a copyright claim. But yeah, if you go up to my Facebook page, the Suspended Fanimation page there, you'll see it in its entirety up there. So same clarity and everything else. But so for Gotham, it's gone. It's done with. All I can say is after that season finale, good riddance. No. Yeah, it wasn't a great season finale. It had its moments, Gotham, but they didn't go batshit crazy in that last season. They started to, and then they kind of wimped out by the end of it. Very disappointed in that, and they really should have just cast a Bruce Wayne, an older Bruce Wayne. That's what they needed to do. They had so many people to choose from. They could have just cast an unknown. They really didn't need to. I mean, they had Lily Simmons in there as who looked, a lot like a grown-up version of Bianca. I can't remember her last name. Who played Selena on the show, the young Selena on the show. She looked a lot like her, which was really kind of creepy. And Lily Simmons is a good actress, so they could have found someone just as equal for Bruce on that one. But anyway, thank you to everyone who joined me in the chat. Joker the Third, Stanley Tweedle, and I know I had one other person that was floating around in here. Braun, who was here. Braun S. Thank you guys. I know and Morks has been here. You've been quiet. Yeah, and like I said, it was just kind of weird. I know they put it during Avengers Endgame because they knew everyone would be out watching Avengers Endgame and not caring about the last season, the last episode of Gotham. And with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. Take a look at the video up here. Hit the subscribe button over there. I will let you guys go for the evening. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may not have your audience because they're all out watching Avengers Endgame right now, kind of like what Penn Farm Girl's doing. Good night, everybody, and thank you.